Hello Internet, my name is Vic. That just took so much energy out of me just to say my name. So I figured I'd make a recap video of the year. Because it was also the end of a decade. I hate saying that out loud. It makes me feel weird inside. But it was the end of a decade. And what a long, difficult decade it's been, my friends. What a long one. I don't know, I just felt like an inspirational speaker. Like, my friends, it's been a long decade, but we got through it, But, like, it's not even like that. I don't even know how I made it this far. I'm literally going to be 29 this year, okay? 29. And I was just thinking about it, it's like 10 years ago, I was 19, and I had just moved out of my parents' house for the first time. What? This whole span of me trying to find a place to live permanently has been 10 years. But I also have to consider the fact that over these 10 years, I've dated a whole slew of people. That sounds terrible, but it's not. It's 10 years, okay? Give me some slack. But I actually didn't really date that many people in 10 years, but still, I went through a lot. And I've been actually going through my YouTube and editing things here and there, tweaking things here and there, rewatching some of my videos over the past 10 years, because I actually started really posting to my YouTube back in 2009. I had a YouTube for a long time, but Son of a King kind of took off in 2009, 2010-ish. So my YouTube has been around for 10 years. I also had Peter Ponju's channel, and I also have the Punk Raw Rock channel. I have multiple channels, but Son of a King has been where I post most of my trans stuff, other than like like Instagram. I post a lot of trans stuff on there, which I know I've been saying lately in the past videos, so I'm sorry for like promoting myself, but I guess if nobody else will promote me, I guess I will. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to go over the decade, not the whole decade, but kind of more like this last year, but also kind of touch on the decade. So I went through a lot in 10 years. I really did. I can't really say what the worst thing I went through is, because a lot of them rank up there. And I think that goes for everybody that's lived through a decade. And I've lived through 3. So there's that. But I think it's interesting because at the beginning of this new decade we're entering into, the 20s, there's a lot going on. But, I think for me personally, it's gonna be a whole different level of wild. I don't want to say it's gonna be like the best decade ever, but it's gonna be different because I'm starting the decade off with learning to be alone, learning to love myself, learning to accept myself, learning to become comfortable with me without distractions. And I'm not saying distractions are bad, but they can be. And I've always been very easily distracted from me. That comes with my upbringing. I think one of my biggest coping mechanisms was taking somebody else's problems or trying to help somebody else or trying to fix somebody else. I think that's my biggest coping mechanism that I learned from my childhood, and it's one of my most unhealthy ones. Because you can't change others, you can't fix other people, you can't do that. You can kind of guide them, but ultimately it comes down to what they want to do. And if they're ready to move on, if they're ready to better themselves, if they're ready to change their way of thinking, doing, coping, emoting, like all that. If they're ready for that, then they will make the change. You can't make them do it. Can't make anybody do anything. You can ask, you can request, you can suggest, you can expect, but you won't get until they want to give. And sometimes they'll never want to give. And that's what I had to learn to face this year, last year, the year before that. Well, not this year, but 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. Literally every year of my life, I've had to learn that not everybody is going to be as giving or as tolerable or as, whatever as yourself. Ultimately, you're the only one in your life that looks out for you, and 9 times out of 10 we neglect to look out for ourselves because we're too busy investing and waiting and just trying to do for others. It's been a long decade. It's been a long year. It's been a long life. But that's not to say that I'm not eager and willing and ready to learn to love me, to learn to do me, to learn to be me, and to learn to be comfortable with the fact that not everyone is going to like that, and not everyone's going to vibe with that, and not everyone's going to want to be around that, but that's okay, because even if they don't, I can be without. And I still have a lot to learn about how I cope with things as well. I have my unhealthy methods. I have my isolation. I have my self-deprecation. I have my low points. I have my suicidal thoughts and tendencies. I have my depression. I have my anxiety. But I own them. I know that I'm mentally ill. I know that I have problems. I know that there are things that I need to work on. But I'm human, and so are you, and so is everyone. So, in reality, we all have shit to work on. Everyone does. So why should I sit back and beat myself up because I have stuff to work on when everyone does? So, I don't know, it was just kind of a year and a decade of enlightenment, trial, tribulation, but I made it. You made it. We all made it. We may not have made it out with the people we thought would be by our side at the end of this year, or this past year, and at the end of the decade. There were people throughout those years that we thought would be solid that ended up being the complete opposite of solid. There's some people that we rock with that we thought we would rock with forever. I lost a lot of people in 2019. The world lost a lot of people in 2019. A lot of my friends died this past year. And especially the last couple months, they died. And it scares me. It really does, because these guys were younger than me. I don't like that. I really don't. I don't like the fact that we're killing each other. I don't like the fact that we can't trust each other. I don't like the fact that once united are now divided. I don't like that. I think we should all, at least try to tolerate each other. I don't think anybody who passed this year was anyone that I expected to go. But that's just how life is. It takes people that you don't think would go before you or go anytime soon. But it's like we never know what to expect with life. Life is unpredictable. Life is strange. But we can't let life stop us from living. Because life doesn't stop, period. It just keeps going. So if we choose to stop, life doesn't care. Life's not affected. So why should we let life affect us in that way? So it's just, and these are things that I say to myself all the time. It's not just me trying to blast this and act like that I'm perfect and untouchable. No. It's like the only thing that can really heal is time. And I think a lot of people mistake that healing with everything's going to be the exact same when it's done healing. No. There are some things that will never come back. There are some things that will never be the same. No matter how hard you try and piece them together, it just doesn't happen. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of the decade, you're still alive. I'm still alive. I made it through. I made it through some really dark times. I made it through some times where I didn't want to make it through them. I made it through times where I was ready for that sweet release of death. I wanted it. But I didn't do it. Something stopped me. I don't know what. I really don't. But it's like every time I would get to that point where I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go, something stopped me. Whether it were a person calling me, texting me having that sudden realization right there, right when I'm about to go, I don't want to do this. I can't. What's gonna happen after? Or somebody bursting in the door on me, like through the door on me. I've had a lot of close calls. Most of them were inflicted by myself. Some of them inflicted by others, but most by me. And it's crazy to think. I didn't think I'd make it to 28. I didn't think I'd make it to freaking 20. You know, I didn't think I would make it. Every year that I celebrated a birthday, I didn't think I would have made it through that year. Every year, I literally think somewhere on some social media platform or something, I always say in some conversation, I don't even know, but I always be like, yeah, I never thought I would make it. Never. And it's like, you wonder how. It's like on sheer willpower. Was it just like on some like whim where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but here we go. You know, was it like that? Or was it like, I really don't know how we're going to do it, but I guess here we go again. You know, it's like, it's such a blur. Such a blur. And I was actually watching some of my YouTube videos. Like I said, I was going through my channel to kind of like tweak it here and there and update it here and there and make it nice, because I think I'm going to really try and put some effort into YouTube this year. But I'm sitting there doing that and I'm like, you know what? Let me just watch some. Because at first I wasn't even watching them. I was just editing them, like the information or tags or whatever. You know, I was just doing that, but I was doing other stuff. Like I was watching other videos by other people because that's what I do. And I was like, I don't remember what I said in this video. So I clicked on it. And boy, let me tell you, it was actually the video issues in the trans community. I think I uploaded it like when I was March, I think it was, and I was like 3 months on T or something like that. I don't even know with like the days, the months, whatever. But I look so young. And I know I look young now. Like, go ahead, pause the video, and like just pull up a picture of me 10 years ago. Go on my Instagram, go on my YouTube, find a video from 10 years ago. I don't care. Find something and just pull it up. Just go do it. I'll wait, because you're probably doing this on your phone, and you can have this video playing and just go look at it or something. I don't know, but just, I'll give you a second. That's crazy, right? Literally, I was thinking about it when I was watching it, and I was like a president that just went through 2 terms. Like, you guys remember when Obama got in office? And he was like so young, and like everyone was like, he's such a young president. He's the youngest president. Like, and he was, but like everyone was talking about how young he looked and everything. And at the end of his 2 terms, when he left office, he looked so old. I was like, dude, like, we aged him. But then it's just like me looking back at these videos, I'm like, yo, like, I aged. And this was literally from March last year to January this year. I was like, yo, like, I aged. Like, and I know I look different. I went through puberty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm on hormones, but like, I look old to myself. I don't know about you, but like, I look old. Like, I don't know. And it's like, I don't know if it's because I feel old, because mentally I'm just so old. But yeah, it's wild. But I just think one of the most important things that I picked up on this year is, I wish I would have taken notes. I've been thinking about making this video for a couple of days now. I actually wanted to make it on New Year's Eve, but then I was like, I think I have plans, and then it turned out to not have plans. But you know, that's life. And so I was like, oh well, you know. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and I was like, no, I really want to make that video. Like, I gotta like piece together some like points and bulletins and all this stuff, because I used to actually do that. I used to take notes, you know, so I can have my thoughts together, because I'm a very like absent-minded person. My mind wanders a lot. So I was like, yeah, I should definitely. So I kind of wish I wrote these down, but I still have them. They're there. It just takes a couple of talking points to get to them. But I know one of them, you know, the biggest thing was, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You really don't. And like, I've even caught myself before. You know, I've said, like, I'll send a text talking about, I'm getting ready to go do this, or I'm, you know, such and such, is like, I'm going to go meet so and so at the bar, and we're gonna have a few drinks, you know, blah blah. But then after I'd send the text, I would be like, why am I telling them this? I'm like, are they obligated to know? Like, is anyone really obligated to know anything about my life? No. They're not. I'm an adult. I am 28. I'll be 29 this year. It's like, I don't think that unless you're like in a relationship with somebody, or like if you're living with somebody and you're like, you know, that's when the communication of where you're going, or if you're going to be home late, or if you're going to be home at all, like, I think that's where that comes into play. But like, looking at me right now, like, I'm in a position where I don't have to tell anybody what I'm doing, or explain why I'm doing what I'm doing either. It's like if somebody sees me at the bar, I'm just using the bar as an example, but like if somebody sees me and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing here? Like, I'm here to drink a beer. What are you doing here? Are you trying to buy me a shot or something? Because that's cool. We can do that. You know, but I'm clearly at a bar to drink. That's why I came here. You know what I mean? Like, And I'm not saying anybody's confronting me like, why are you at the bar? But I was just using it as an example. It's like anything that I do, unless like I'm at work and I'm trying to go take a break, I need to ask my supervisor. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't owe anybody like any kind of explanation. Um, Now, are there some things that I should probably do when it comes to like communication? Sure, communication's a good thing, but here's a news flash. I sucked at communicating in relationships. What makes you think I'm gonna be good at communicating just in like general in friendships? Exactly. Um but it's something that I do want to work on. It's not something that I want to struggle with the rest of my life. I want to be able to communicate with other people how I'm feeling and what I'm feeling and why. Or, hey, I don't feel like talking to anybody today. I don't feel like having any kind of social interaction, so fuck off. Or, B, um, really not feeling it today. You know what I'm saying? Like, or C, my method, I'm just gonna go ghost on everybody and just sit in my room all day and not do anything. So, the one thing I learned was just you don't owe anybody an explanation for why you're doing anything of what you're doing. Period. um, Another thing is you boost yourself up. You are your own confidence booster or whatever. You're the one who can boost your confidence. If you don't, that's on you, buddy or baby, whoever you are. Hey, what's up? What's good? So, yeah, it's just like if you feel like shit, it should be on you. It shouldn't be on anybody else. Don't let what anybody else says make you feel like shit. Because honestly, at the end of the day, who cares what they think? Who cares? Who really cares? Do you care? Yes? Stop. Don't care. It's time to stop. And that's something that I'm still working on, but I'm aware of. And I think once you become aware of it, then you really start to notice it. Then you really want to make an effort to change it. And I know I'm capable because in the past, I've been capable of adapting to toxic, shitty situations and just being content and sitting in the middle of the room when it's on fire and being like, this is fine. Everything is fine. But it's not. It's really not. So if I can do that, I can adapt to not giving a fuck what people think about me. Isn't that great? That's wonderful news. So, yeah, there's that. Excuse me. I've also learned that if you're in said toxic situation, get out. Just get out. But Vic, I don't have anywhere to go. Get out. But Vic, if I don't have anywhere to go, I don't have anywhere to sleep. Guess what? This is something that I wanted to talk about when it was happening, but I just decided not to on the internet. But now that it's done and I'm somewhere, I would like to touch on this. And this is something that happened to me this past year, something that was a big trial. And really, I learned from it. I really did. But I don't think I learned what certain people had in mind for me to learn when they told me that I need to learn. But I learned. So, in October, I went through a breakup. In doing so, I decided that I needed to leave where I was living because it was with her family member, and I was like, well, that's weird. I'm not comfortable with that because we're not dating and we're not even at the point we were at roommates. So I'm not about to just be living somewhere where it's just me and her family member. That's just weird. So I dipped and I went somewhere and I was living there and it was toxic. So instead of being old school Vic and being like, I'm just gonna stay because I would rather be somewhere than be on the streets. I had a vehicle. I've been homeless before with a vehicle, and I've done that before. So I was like, well, I've done this before. I know how to do it, and I know that I have a place to go shower if I need to and wash clothes. So I'm going to do it. So I said, hey, I'm out. And I left, and I'm sure they've talked shit, but I really don't care. That's part of that thing that I learned. Yeah. I really don't care. And so I lived out of my car from October. Was it October? It was like late October, early November, I think. Somewhere around there. Maybe it was November, from November to December. But still, it was a time, it was a period. It was about a month and a half. And of just bouncing back and forth. Yeah, that's right, because I had Thanksgiving. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I just lived out of my car. And sometimes I would go sleep at my mom's, sometimes I would go sleep at my friends, sometimes I would go sleep at another friend's. But there was I always found a way to find somewhere to sleep and charge my phone, and I would always get up and be at work at 6 in the morning. There were times that I hardly made it. There were times that I struggled to wake up. There were times that I was late. There were times that I just did not want to be at work. But I knew if I missed work, where am I going to get? Nowhere. Now I'm renting a room and I'm still saving to get my own place. But it's like I did that because I knew where I wasn't good for me. And I just up and left. I didn't have to have permission. I didn't have to wait for somebody to be like, yeah, it's okay if you leave. I just left. And it was better for me. It turned out to be way better for me than I even thought it would be. But, I'm learning more and more that I can be independent. I'm not a child, I'm an adult. Sometimes being an adult is very scary, but I can do it. My anxiety is really bad. But I've learned how to go around that and get stuff done. And I've been getting stuff done. So, cheers to me. Cheers to that. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video because I do realize it is long. So, I'll probably be editing it. But still, it's long for now. But I just wanted to say, I made it. You made it. We made it. And that's something we should be proud of. And just remember to focus on yourself this year. Pick yourself up off the ground and dust yourself off and just live your life. Take it one day at a time. You'll get there. You'll get through it. If I could do it, you can do it. I know you can. Just keep your head up. And let's have a good year.